Happy Tuesday, Frank Rock, House of Orange Sports Channel coming at you. I'm going to take a look ahead to Tennessee's roster, who returns next year, where they could add, where they need to add, and how this team can kind of build to combat, or maybe they fell short this year. Thank you guys for tuning in with me. Let's get right into it. So the returners next year, bullet point one I'm going to get into is the returners. We know leading the way for next year is going to be Zakai Ziegler. Okay, you got Ziegler coming back. You got Jonas Adu. Now, this is scheduled to come back. Could guys leave? Will guys leave? Yeah, you got to think there will be attrition. There's always going to be, I think, at this point. But Jonas Adu is a junior that should be back. Freddie Dillon scheduled to be back. Jordan Gainey, Toby Awaka, Cade Phillips, JP Estrella, Jemai Meshack, Cameron Carr, DJ Jefferson. That's the scholarship returners who, based on their eligibility, will be back. Now, I've seen speculation out there. I've said it on here as well. Unless the guy, is pretty dead set he's going to come work for his way back in, I'm thinking the writing's on the wall that DJ Jefferson won't be there for whatever reason. I mean, in some of these blowouts this year, especially considering he redshirted last year and he was not getting in the game, I think the writing's on the wall on that one. So I'll be surprised if he's back. But, hey, if he does, hats off to him. He was considered a good pickup when they got him. And, maybe it takes a couple years for the light to come on for him. I saw Rocky Top Insider had an article on Monday. They speculated, wonder if Freddie Dillon could possibly go. And that's kind of an interesting one. And I've said it on here with these younger guys who didn't get much playing time. And I said, I hope they will stick it out. And, you come in, especially if Dillon, by publications, was considered top 50, coming in, didn't play a whole lot this year. So, and, with him considered a point guard and with Zakai Ziegler coming back next year, his minutes are going to be limited at the point guard spot unless he carves out a niche somewhere else on this team. So I hope he'll stay. But, I guess it is one to keep an eye on. I hadn't really thought of I don't know. Nothing would surprise me at this point. And you got to factor in tampering. Tampering goes on at schools with OSNIL, all these collectives and stuff as well. But I think, looking at that, so Tennessee currently they have Bishop Boswell, combo guard out of North Carolina, signed. So that'll add one. You're losing Connect, you're losing James, you're losing Vescovy. That's 2 openings right now. If you lose 1 to 2 guys, that's 1 to 2 more spots that you add through the portal. And, I'll get to that in a minute, needs with that. But my second point, who could leave? And, that's the candidates for me right off the top of my head. Now, could you get a surprise guy come up and go? You never know. I mean, I honestly wouldn't have thought Olivier Comwa would have come up and left last year the way he did. But, what happened? Tennessee could have used him. Let's make no mistake about it. They could have used him. Just the same as they could have used Chris Ledlam, who had committed to them, who was coming to Tennessee, and then he packed his bags and went to St. John's. With Tennessee's returning with their big man, we've seen numerous times that come out just not to be enough for them this year. You'll have Adu back. You'll have Awaka back. You'll have JP Estrella with the year under his belt. You'll have Cade Phillips with the year under his belt as well. So that's 4 guys you could play. Hopefully, Awaka's strength's not the issue with him. He can get in and go on it. He's not going to be able to go against a Zach Edey type who's 7'7" or more in terms of height. But as far as his strength, I mean, he can go with them. Adu, on the other hand, he's listed at 240, but he's a very slender, lanky 240, I feel like. And part of me wonders if his game wouldn't be better suited as a 4. And, I don't know if he has the athleticism to just run. I don't know on that, but to just stretch the court and stuff. He can shoot pretty good. He didn't show it in the tournament. He had some good looks against Purdue, and I don't know what the deal was with him there. I've talked about that and stuff, but, another year what they do, I think about it. If he makes the improvements he did from last year to this year, then should be a pretty good player. Now, he was a good player this year. he was very frustrating towards the end of the year. I'm not going to lie. And I'll be honest, a lot of what's said right after a game where you get put out to go to the Final Four, a lot of emotions and stuff, you got to take with a grain of salt. At that point, a lot of emotions were going in that one. And I don't apologize for any of it. If I called a name, I think I may have called Edie a name that's like a giant, but no, that's probably not the thing to do on it. I kind of caught myself on that after a time or two. But no, but still, that was an extremely frustrating game to go back to, and in numerous ways, numerous aspects of it. But you've got those four bigs coming back. But knowing what you know this year, and really, you went out and you got a scorer in Dalton Connect, who you're going to have to replace. I really think they could withstand to get a guy who can come in and give you good minutes and really contend with some of these bigger guys. I really do. I mean, Mississippi State center Hubbard, who gave Tennessee fits in 2 games, he said he's coming back. So you're going to have to deal with him in some shape or form next year. Obviously, we haven't seen the SEC basketball schedule, so you'll at least get him once, if not a couple times next year. You've got Texas and Oklahoma coming into the conference next year. You're going to have to deal with. Also, look at my third bullet point, who could step up. For me, my guy I'm looking at to step up next year is Cameron Carr. The staff's high on him. He's not afraid to shoot. I like a guy like that who has that grit in his craw, I guess you could say. A guy who's not afraid to take the shot, a guy who's I don't think there's a shot he's not seen he doesn't like. And, that can be a detriment at times. But I'm looking for this dude to take a big step next year. So he comes in this year 6'5", 175. If you get him up, put some good weight on him, he keeps his athleticism, keeps that shot. He's a guy who could step up as they're going to need scores next year. I'm also looking at Jordan Gainey to take on more. A little inconsistent this year, another year of it. As he did some good things this year, make no mistake about it. But I'm looking at primarily those two, and I'm looking at JP Estrella taking that next step as well. If he develops his hands, gets his strength up, gets his weight up, because right now he is listed at, this is on UT Sports, he's listed at 6'11", 241. If you put some good weight on him, and it's hard to tell how much he's added in the meantime since arriving, but you put another 10 pounds or so on him, he could be pretty good down there. I think he's going to be a heck of a player for Tennessee moving forward. That's my kind of 3 guys I have pegged next year. You got to think you're going to get what you're going to get out of Ziegler. I expect Adu to improve coming back. Hopefully Awaka stays out of foul trouble. I think he could do some good things as well coming back. Jamal Mashak's going to be solid. I'm curious to see, does his offensive output, does his offensive load kind of get added to next year. And then the last thing I'll hit on here, portal needs. If you've got 2, you got to go in right now with the assumption there's 2. I really feel there's going to be more. You've got to go out and get a scorer. You have to fill that void of Dalton Connect. Are you going to find a Dalton Connect? You can't assume that you will. All right. But who would have thought Dalton Connect would come in and be what he was also? You've got to go out in that portal and identify a scorer. You've got to get them on campus and get them in here. If I'm a portal player, if I'm a guy going into the portal and I can score, and I just saw what happened this year, Tennessee's a pretty nice option for me. Now, granted, all teams are probably going to try to hit the portal for some need or something. You look at if you're a bruiser type guy, what could you do coming in here? If I'm a big guy and I look at Tennessee and I'm like, man, I could have made a difference here. Maybe you look at it that way. I've seen speculation they go out and try to get a Josiah Jordan James type. I'll be honest, I don't think they need a guy who's – I'm not saying they can't use a Josiah Jordan James type. That's not what I'm saying at all. I want to see more impact guys who can impact you either rebounding-wise or, maybe a little bit of everything. But if I'm going to get a guy like that, I want him to be able to come and score about 15 or so points per game. Easier said than done, I know, on that. But Tennessee needs a scorer badly. That's got to be first and foremost, a guy who can kind of pick up Dalton Connect's role there. I still really feel like they need a bruiser. And if you get 1 or 2 more guys going, I think, a stretch type guy, a stretch shooter would be huge for this team. And they shot really good in the NCAA tournament. That's what, they shot above their average on the year. They shot above their mean. Um, so you got to add to that and go on. But this team, right now as constructed, it's a tournament team. I don't know that it's a deep run team just because I think you're going to get in what you had, not so much this year, but prior couple years where you may not have that consistent score on it. You go out and add a scorer type guy, that amps that team, that immediately elevates that team. You add 2 to 3 impact guys, you've got a team that's capable of making another run like they did this year. But I hope you guys enjoy the content that's coming in. I appreciate all the support over the weekend on the post game live show. It was emotional. It was a tough day. A lot of I've had a lot of Purdue fans coming on. I've had some good ones. Don't get me wrong, but I have some that don't get it, and they're coming on here crying like they lost the game on it. It's an intense game. It's a lot of emotions. Both teams and their fans really want to go to the Final Four. Yeah, you're coming on here gaslighting Tennessee fans. They should be wrong about their feelings. They shouldn't. And I'll kind of the point I'm over it, and we can move on at this point. But thank you guys for that. Thank you for tuning in to the next day, for liking that. Make sure you hit that like button, that you share this thing out, and hit subscribe. It is free. Okay, lots of baseballs coming. I'm going to drop a video tomorrow. I'm going to look into the numbers of Tennessee baseball, where they're at for the season. No midweek game this week. They'll play Auburn this weekend. Should be a tough task, as always, in the SEC. But, as always, thank you for the support. My name's Frank Rock. This is the House of Orange Sports Channel. And as always, go Vols.